Are you comfortable with the idea of having two candidates in one constituency?
Very much so, because I think the problem on a Friday for the electorate will be that they haven't been informed. And just so I can express, this is my very first time at RTE, yet I've made thousands of applications to state the facts and the truth. I established a mass criminal investigation by An Garda Síochána against the corruption of the banking institution.
Sorry, when you say you established an investigation by the Garda, how did you do that?
Basically what I did was, I identified all the criminal violations that the banking institutions of this state committed, and it took, ironically, 3 attempts in 3 separate Garda stations until they were forced to take my statement. And then I went on to social media, and I got numerous people to fill out the statement, and they in turn went in and had the guards to process it. Now that was on the 14th of February 2013, months prior to the Irish government stating that they were going to establish an investigation. So moving on to that, to your answer, the people in the state are not informed. They haven't got a clue in relation to... I was on Vincent Browne last night, and I asked Brian Hayes a question. What was securitisation? He hasn't got a clue. The whole emphasis of the bank debt was based and premised on securitisation. That's the causation.
Sorry,
it is
Tom, you know, you're saying, basically what you're telling me is you made a complaint to the Gardaí.
I beg your pardon, David, it's much bigger than that.
Right.
I'm the first person in Irish history, our first person in the 27 European states to make a criminal allegation against an Irish financial institution. I think it's far bigger than just an allegation.
Okay, well, to talk a bit about yourself, Tom, you're a former property developer. You're being pursued by AIB for a debt of €17 million, and a lot of people might have a lot of sympathy with you on a personal basis, because I'm sure you've had a very tough time over the past few years. But when it comes to voting for somebody, they might not think that that's a particularly sympathetic background.
I don't want sympathy off anybody, because looking at the people at home right now, which I deal with every day with evictions, the people at home like myself broke no laws, committed no crimes. We done everything by the book. I worked 100 hours a week. I done absolutely nothing wrong. Like every SME across this state, done nothing wrong. And what happened? Because of the banking corruption, because of the ECB and the Central Bank of Ireland's criminal negligence, we are the ones that have to pay for the actions of those that broke the laws.
Yeah, but you took out loans and you couldn't pay them back because you made mistakes yourself.
No, I made no mistake, and I'll ask you a question. If you were asked a question when you took out your mortgage or your loan, and you were told that the banks were insolvent, that they had no banking license, that they were trading illegally, that they were going to securitise that loan and receive far bigger profit back from it, and the causation of that was going to default that loan, and you were going to get the blame for it, would you seriously consider that you were negligent to it right now?
Well, I'm going to move on there.
Just answer the question,
well,
please.
I wouldn't take on. I probably wouldn't take on a debt if
no,
I couldn't
any
pay it
person
back,
in this country would have either.
If I couldn't pay it back. So anyway,
you would have been able to pay it back if the banks told you the truth, David.
Okay.
The reality is that what I'm meeting at the door is people suffering every day. I deal with people in eviction every day. The reality is that NAMA have the biggest building portfolio in the world, yet we have one of the highest rates of homelessness in Europe. We have builders unemployed for the last 8 years, and yet we have homelessness. We have our public service has been cut and slashed by this government. I represent over 19 guards who are sleeping in their cars. Is this the way do we want to treat the people who are supposed to be protecting us? And all the talk about histrionics. Eamon wants to talk about creating new legislation. The reality was, David, there is laws and there was laws to protect this. The reality is that those that broke the laws are not made accountable.